Ladies and gentlemen, I have to thank you very much for having given me this opportunity to speak to you. Actually, I have come here to tell you something about the work that we are doing, the problems that we are facing, and the real long task that we have ahead of us. Because in India, superstitions dominate everything. You have a space center, and they say the rocket should go up, but they say, no, not doing Rahu Kal, because it's a very bad time. Really, this is what happened in India. They say something wrong with the Vastu, V-A-S-T-H-U, Vastu. It's something like Feng Shui of the Chinese. This Vastu is Indian Feng Shui, or rather, Feng Shui is the Chinese Vastu. Because they say, when you build a house, the toilet should be here, and this should be here, and that should be there. And if it's not going to be there, you are going to be in real trouble. So one man I knew in Bangalore, he was told the toilet should come there, the kitchen should come there, the bedroom should come there, and he consulted an architect, and the architect told him that it is easier to demolish the whole house rather than make those alterations. So he demolished the whole house and to build a new one. And in the meanwhile, the stock market plunged, he lost his money, and instead of a house, he has got a blank spot. No, really, you will not believe that the present Prime Minister of India, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, has become a Prime Minister on a promise that he will build a temple at a place called Ayodhya dedicated to Lord Rama. You will find it very, very funny, but that happens to be a fact. Really, you could ask any Indian you know about, though Indians here may try to fight a little shy and say, no, it's not actually that. But it is actually that. Because people went to villages, and this Bharatiya Janata Party or BJP is an organ of an organization called RSS, which is Rashtriya Swayam Sevak Sangh, which is an extremist Hindu outfit who are going to make India the strongest nation in the world by the Vedic powers. Because everything that is there in the world was there in two books. Muslims say it was in the Quran, and Hindus say that it is in the Vedas. And no wonder that we have a nation who believes in anything. There's a man called what's his name? Sudarshan, he runs, Ravi Shankar. He runs something called Sudarshana Kriya. I don't know whether you heard of that in Australia, but they say he's known all over the world. Everybody anywhere in the world knows this man. And do you know what his theory is? That your whole life depends on the number of breaths that you take, the number of times that you breathe. Suppose 3 million breaths is your life. You breathe once a second, you will live for 3 million seconds. But if you breathe once in 2 seconds, you will live for 6 million seconds. So what I would advise you is, take a deep breath and just hold it, and you will live for In India we have yogis who have been practicing breath control, which they call as pranayama. And you have heard of one man called Maharshi Mahesh Yogi, who does something called transcendental meditation, and people fly in air and all that, but when they fly from one place to another place, they go by aeroplanes. Now, we have in India people called Jagat Gurus. Jagat Guru means a guru for the world. And I don't know how many universes are there, because there must be around at least 300 to 400 Jagat Gurus in India who are gurus for the world. And for every aspect of your life, superstitions play a very, very dominant role. I'm very, very sorry that I have to speak this about my country, but unfortunately it happens to be so. And a person who gives up this attitude, or rather gives up the superstitions, has got a lot of things to face. Like we skeptics have been facing in India. Now, these gurus do everything. They diagnose disease. Now please, the video clipping please. Now you will see one guru in India whose name is Ganapati Satchidananda Swami, who was a daily wager in the post office. He was paid $1 per day, $1 Australian. And then he became a Swami. And you just watch a clipping taken by the BBC for a series called as the Guru Busters.
The skeptics are not just worried about the guru's political influence. They fear they may also be doing medical harm. This Swami dresses in pink silk and offers healing to his patients by playing classical ragas on a Japanese synthesizer.
It gives energy and also calm and also heals also.
To diagnose cancer, heart disease and AIDS, he uses a collection of crystals which, he says, emit rays of light only visible to his eye. The crystals tell him the disease patients are suffering from. He treats them with a touch from his crystals and by having them listen to his music.
This crystal shows colors and which row sits, people sitting, they shows different colors and vibrating like a small bulb. So then very easy to recognize, oh, how many lights, the blue lights, oh, 12 lights. Today, 12 cancer patients sitting in this hall. So then I will announce, in this gathering today, 14-member cancer patients, 12-member heart patients, please stand up. Then Swamiji is calling and then giving advice, please change your doctor. Or you can go ahead, only this medicine, continue this medicine. And you are wrong diagnosis, please come near me, then I will give to something to you. And Swamiji recommending this particular raga in this moment, you can listen half an hour, and then Swamiji giving some healing stones also.
The Swami then surprised the film crew by materializing a trinket from the bottom of his favorite crystal.
This for you. The coral Ganapati. It's not magic, but it's only token like a chocolate.
It's charming, and it's an illusion.
Now, this is the sort of stuff that we have to face. And you would have seen in this audience some Westerners also. So don't think that it is restricted to Indians only, because we get some people as probably a fringe of who are on the lunatic side, or rather cultists who come to India and they also fall for stuff like this. Now let's go to some of the villages of India, particularly in some parts of the state where I come from, Karnataka. There, some of these godmen, of course the small timers, diagnose disease also. And they do it very, very simply. They call the patient, apply a paste to the hand. The paste is something white. It is calcium hydroxide, which everybody in India uses to eat a betel nut. You know, there's something called pan in Indian languages. They take a leaf, apply this calcium hydroxide or slaked lime, then they chew it with some nuts, and when they spit, it appears as if they are spitting blood. And some people, when they came to India, they saw that and they were really scared. They said, oh, so many people are spitting blood here. There must be a lot of tuberculosis around. Right. Now, these people rely on a very simple test to diagnose disease. They call the patient, they check the pulse. In modern medicine, you can just check the pulse and tell something about the cardiovascular system. But in India, by checking the pulse, we can tell you about anything from your central nervous system to the genitourinary system. That is called as Nadi Pariksha. Nadi stands for pulse, Pariksha stands for examination. So I want 4 patients here to please come over so that I can check your pulse. And then I want Pete to come over here and help me, because he has become a sort of junior guru. because he has been helping me in Canberra. So I want 4 people to come over here. I check your pulse and tell you what's wrong with you. Please come.
We have a 4th one?
Yes.
No, I know you're the helper.
Check the pulse for the left hand. Please.
This looks rigged already.
What's wrong with you? I think he's having a headache. Just got it by listening to me. Your name, please? Barry Williams. I predicted that also, right? Now, what's wrong with you? I think he has got some pain in the knee joint. Yes, very good. Peter has come here. I think he is having some fever. Right. Your name is Martin? Martin, right. I think Martin is also having some trouble. So sometimes I like to talk like Peter Silvers. all of you please stand there and stretch out your left hand. Now Pete will put some chunam on their hands. And then the diagnosis is very easy. You just rub your hands. Those who get a red color are possessed by what will. You just rub your hands together. And just hold it. Please rub. Come on.
He's paid the priest.
Now here we have 4 patients, 3 of whom are having problems because they are possessed by evil spirits. Are they so tough that no evil spirit will come in? Now, let me just show you what I did. Now, will one of you please come over here, please? Well, one of you who has not come for this, please. Please come over here. Now, I got 4 patients here. Please come over here. Come over. I don't know whether any of you observed that. For 3 patients, I examined their pulse like this. For Barry, I checked his pulse like this. So for those whom I checked the pulse like this, when that was applied, a red color came. Because in my hand, there was a chemical called phenolphthalein. Hey, thank you. So you are okay now? I think you'll have to pay me. You can't just go away. Now, I put phenolphthalein on the right hand, and I put chunam, that is calcium hydroxide, on the left hand. And when these 2 hands were rubbed together, a red color came because it's an indicator. Now you may turn around and ask me, how does a witch doctor in a remote village in India know about your chemical called phenolphthalein or an indicator called phenolphthalein? He doesn't know a damn thing about it. But he knows that there are purgative tablets, laxative tablets. They are available in India because the good old theory was that your whole GI tract is something like a CO. And once in a while you have to clean it up by giving laxatives. That went out of practice long back, but in India it is still there. So these tablets are available. He powders the tablet and just applies it to his hand. And when the patient comes, touches the hand, the red color comes. He says, you are possessed by the spirits. And to get rid of the spirits, well, he will perform some rites. Of course, he'll collect money. That's the most important part of it. And then he will say, well, you are rid of the spirits. And if the patient gets cured, the patient will be very happy. And in fact, patients do get cured. Please understand this. Because 70% of the people who are ill, who go to a general practitioner, have only self-limiting diseases. Say something like a common cold or a viral fever, which becomes alright after some days. And sometimes they may have psychosomatic illness. But what happens is, when a person has something really serious, he is going to become really serious. Because I know cases where The cancer was in the primary stage. They went to a quack. Quack told them nothing would happen. And then it went on growing, and one day the patient died from cancer. And in fact, it happened to a great devotee of a man called Sai Baba, about whom I am going to tell you more tomorrow. She was the wife of a professor at a university. And she was a great devotee of Sai Baba. She had lost her son who was 19 years old in a motorbike accident. And this 55-year-old lady started getting a swelling in her abdomen. She didn't go to a doctor. She went to Puttaparthi to see Sai Baba. And do you know what Sai Baba told her? Your son is coming back to life. He's taking incarnation again. And he'll be born after 9 months. So this lady simply kept quiet. And her abdomen kept growing. And after 9 months, nothing happened. Then she went to a doctor who diagnosed that she had an ovarian tumor. It was a carcinoma. And she died because of that, because of the belief in a great man called the Sai Baba of Puttaparthi, of whom I am going to tell you more in tomorrow's session. Now, it's not only that we have our quacks, we have imported quacks also. That's the funniest part. Of course, homeopathy, you know, is imported from Germany. The great Dr. Hahnemann, simile vasculentur, like cures like. That's one. The second principle is dilution increases potency. So if you really believe that, the waters of the Pacific Ocean are the best homeopathic medicine that you'll ever get. Now this quack came from Philippines and he performed surgery. And he was very fast, very quick. His operations used to go over in 2 minutes, exactly 2 minutes. And so I had a real tough time convincing people how these operations are a fraud. And so I think the next one will be my demonstration of the operations done by a Filipino faith healer. For the people of Karnataka, millions of people have seen it because it came on the most popular news channel of our area. There's no point in the commentary because it's in Kannada.
ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಇಲ್ಲ ಇದನ್ನ ಮುಟ್ಟಿದಾಗ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನೋ ಈವಲ್ ಸ್ಪಿರಿಟ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಏನೇನೋ ಬಹಳ ದೊಡ್ಡದಾದ ವಿಷ ಜಂತುಗಳಿವೆ ಒಳಗಡೆ, ಏನೇನೋ ಗೆಡ್ಡೆಗಳಿವೆ. ಇವುಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ತೆಗಿಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಆಪರೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಲೇಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಕಾಲು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮಂಚಿ ಇವಾಗ ಬದಿಗೆಯಿಂದ ಆಪರೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ನೀವೇನು ಭಯ ಪಡಬೇಡಿ.
I'm telling him I'll operate with my bare hands, don't be afraid.
Cotton please. Cotton please.
And the person next to me is a surgeon and is a student of mine. So I had the fortune of being assisted by a real surgeon.
ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ.
I'm sorry it's in Kannada, but that's the language of our state. But I think it's pretty self-explanatory, you don't require much explanation.
Cotton please. You want that? Purti.
You have to do all the appropriate acting. There's something really evil there and you have to dig it out. You put a lot of effort into taking it out.
ಓ ಭಾಳ ತೊಂದರೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಇದು ಟ್ಯೂಮರ್ ಬರೋದಕ್ಕೆ. ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ದುಷ್ಟ ಶಕ್ತಿಗಳಿವೆ, ಇದನ್ನು ತೆಗಿಬೇಕು. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಇಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಮುಂದಾಯ್ತು. ಕಾಟನ್ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್. ಟವಲ್ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್. ಟವಲ್ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಡಿ, ಟವಲ್ ಕೊಡಿ ಬೇಗ. ಟವಲ್ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್. ಓಪನ್ ಆಯಿತು, ಇವಾಗ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಏನು ಭಯ ಪಡ್ಬೇಡಿ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹೊಟ್ಟೆನಲ್ಲಿರೋ ದುರ್ಮಾಂಸ ತೆಗೀರಿ. ಎಲ್ಲ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ವಾಸಿಯಾಗಿ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ನೋಡಿ ರಕ್ತ ಬಂದಿರೋದು.
That's blood. So of course, after this was over, we explained in the very same thing, because it was a half-an-hour program in which there was a panel discussion followed by this demonstration of the faith surgery, and then an explanation given how this thing was done. That red liquid is ketchup with some dye. What was removed from the stomach as a tumor, I think you are very familiar with it. It's chicken liver. And all this thing was sheer palming. But do you know how much that man made in 3 days? 15 million rupees. And he was operating on one patient in 2 minutes. And do you know how he got the publicity? Well, we were really surprised. He was taken to Vidhan Sabha, like you have parliaments for the states here. In India it's called as Vidhan Sabha. He was taken there, the Speaker of the Assembly was there, the ministers were there, and in their presence he conducted his operations, and that was shown on TV, and that's why thousands of people went flocking to him to be operated on him and be cured. And sorry to say, nobody got any cure out of this man. And it took me a week to expose this, because I was busy at that time and I had already fixed programs. And every Sunday or every holiday that I get, I'll be going to 2 to 3 villages to tell the people what's happening. I explain to them what these so-called miracles are, and then try to make them think about what they see and not necessarily believe anything without putting it to the test of reason. And this is the task that we have ahead of us. Now, I think my time is running out, and afterwards you can have ask any question that you have. Before that, let me tell you about another miracle man who lives close to Mumbai. His name is, my time is already up.
No, what I thought we might do is, because...
Person called God Baba. Baba means a big man or a father in Indian languages. And this God Baba was well known for his miraculous powers. He could touch anything and make it sweet. And you know the powers of Indian gurus. If you pray to them, and you know as a Hindu you have to pray like this. If you pray to them, he will send his power to you also. So I want at least 3-4 people to come over here and pray to the great miracle man, God Baba, and let us see whether we'll have whether your prayers are genuine or not. Please come and pray here. Come. I want food.
Richard Led.
I think you're going to come. Yeah, come on. Please. Yeah, Pete, please help me with this. Yeah, I want you to pray very sincerely. Just stand here and pray to God Baba. Please take this.
Is it one?
Please pray to God Baba and say, God Baba, please give us your powers. Oh, you should do that. Just pray. God Baba, give us your powers, please. May I say that in Hindi? So that it's a language which God Baba can understand. God Baba, आपकी शक्ति हमें दीजिए. God Baba, आपकी शक्ति हमें दीजिए. Just see whether you want it. If you don't mind, not very hygienic. But please lick your hand and see whether you have got any power of God Baba. No? Just touch my hand and see whether there is any power. If you don't mind. It's not very hygienic, but just lick your hand and see. Just please, if you don't mind. No, lick your hand and see whether you have got the power. No? I think you are all shams. And do you know, what we say in India, we Indians don't think what we are, we know what we are. Dear. I think again I am quoting Peter Sellers in the party. We Indians, when we worship somebody, we will all be very clean. That means we will take bath. You know, in front of every temple there is a tank. Do you know why it is put? So that we will have our hands and feet very clean. And here you don't have a tank. So what I will do is, Pete will please help me with the water so that I will wash my hands. All of them, not just me alone. All of them. Yes. Thank you. Please wash your hands very, very clean. Just wash them very, very clean. And say, God Baba, please give us your power. Wash your hands. Very clean, very clean. Come on. What? Just put the water like this, all of you. So that the carpet will be. Now, have you got the powers? Let me see. Just lick your hands and see. That's drinking water, so you don't have to worry yourself.
I never drink water.
Now, I think there's something wrong in this. See, you Westerners never appreciate the great philosophy of our country, India. That is why you will not get it. But I am, you know, a really true devotee of these gods. And I think my gods have never let me down. So let me just check. Please give me a hand and touch your heart. No, back up. Just lick it there and see. If you don't mind, please. Just lick it there where I've touched. Wait. Just touch it. You have something. You give me those spikes. Now, just anybody can come and touch my hands, and I will show you that I have got the powers of God Baba. Of course, I know it's a bit unhygienic, but please, you will have to put up with it. I think now you will have to really believe the power of God Baba, because I've touched your hand and so many people and it has got sweet. So, this miracle was done by a man called God Baba. His name is some Gaikwad. And how he did that? What's this? Aspartame tablets. I just can't resist a bit of biochemistry. Beta-aspartyl phenylalanine. Generally, the peptide bond is at the alpha carbon atom. This is the peptide bond between the beta carbon atom of aspartic acid, and I know Pete knows that very well. Now, what this God Baba used to do was hide these tablets. See, first when they touched my hand, they didn't get anything sweet, because the tablet was in between my fingers. And when I actually was washing my hands, what I was doing was dissolving the tablet in water. And you know that aspartame is 200 times as sweet as sugar. That's why it can give a sweet taste for a long, long time. Finally, he was exposed by some people, but of course, there too, you know how dangerous things can be. He was challenged by a Maharashtra. Thank you. He was challenged by a Maharashtra organization near Mumbai. They took him on the stage. There were 5 judges. They washed his hands in ether and water and then said, now make things sweet for the judges. He just could not make it. You know what he did? He said, you people are all atheists. You are unbelievers. My miracle works for believers only. He went to the audience. There were hundreds of people watching that. He went into the audience, started touching their hands and everything. He started making it sweet. So people said, no, you skeptics are wrong. When he touched our hands, it was sweet. Do you know how he did that? Must be pretty easy. Barry should be able to tell me that. He had an accomplice in the crowd. The first man whose hands touched was his accomplices. From there he got this and started distributing it to the people. And he set the people against the judges by telling them that you are frauds, but people will judge me. So we have to be very, very careful about what we do in India. So with that, I think I'll leave it open to questions. Yeah, definitely. Questions are welcome, please. Yes?
Do you have anything quite like this in India? In London, I believe, when they're building hotels for Arabs and so on, they organise the bathrooms so that bums do not point towards Mecca.
Yes.
Do you do that kind of thing?
No, in India it would be very difficult to see that the bums do not point in any direction, because we have temples in every direction. Very difficult.
I'd be very apprehensive about what you're doing in India. You are threatening lots of people with a very good livelihood. I'd be fighting for my life.
Yes. I too have had quite a lot of danger to my life, but I thought better face it and get along with it, because otherwise the future is really bleak for our country. I don't know whether I could project anything from a magazine, but if I could show that to you, it would put you off your lunch like it did for somebody here who was, I don't know whether that lady is, she was talking about the greatness of India and the beauty of India, and I showed her some photographs as to what happened in Gujarat in March 2002. You know, there is a dispute going on in India, the Ayodhya dispute, where they say, here was the place where Rama was born, and somebody said, here is the place where Babur built a mosque. And the dispute has been going on, and people who are returning from Ayodhya to their places, the whole compartment was burnt. Petrol was put, and 50 people died, they were killed alive, they were roasted to death. And they said it is the Muslims who have done it, and 2 days later, the Muslims were systematically attacked, killed, their bodies burnt, and if you could see the pictures, it would put you off your food for the next 1 week, not just 2 days. Because it was such a horrible thing, and it was sponsored by the state government. It is Muslims one day, it is Christians one day, it will be skeptics one day, we know that. And we have to face it. In fact, I have had 2-3 attempts on my life already, and I have got 5 stitches on my scalp because of this. My career in the university where I am working is finished. I will never become a professor. I will die an assistant professor, or I will retire as an assistant professor, because they will never promote me, but they can't remove me from a job because I went to the court and won a battle against these people. But the thing is that unless people make such sacrifices, it's not possible to fight these people. We have to fight them because it's purely selfish. I am fighting them because I can't stand them. And I can't stand my people being exploited. That's why I am fighting them.